everyone, Brandon here, and it's time for another episode of Comic Conversation. Yeah, all right. Today we are talking about Under the Moon by Lauren Miracle and Isaac Goodhart. It is a Catwoman tale. Well, a young Catwoman. It's not Catwoman in her cat gear with ears, and she's not stealing from any mafioso or dealing with Batman. We are talking about young Selina Kyle before she's Catwoman. But before she has a whip, before any of that, just young Selina Kyle. And we see her and her family and how she goes through life and kind of the mythos of how we see Catwoman. DC has been in the news because they've been canceling all of their labels. That means no more Vertigo and no more DC Inc. Vertigo, of course, they're going to be moving all of their adult content to their DC Black label. And DC Inc., well, won't be seeing any more of that, as their young adult graphic novels will just be moving on to a regular DC imprint that's going to be labeled YA for young adult. Quick review, spoilers ahead. Under the Moon has 3 chapters, and the first one focuses on Selina Kyle at home and in school. Why it focuses on them is because in the very early parts of her child life, we go and see that Selina Kyle has a neglectful mother and a string of abusive fathers who have put their hands on Selina, from pinching to punching, and her most recent and probably most dangerous one is Darnell, who's been with her family, well, her mother and herself, for 2 years and has done all sorts of terror, including the knife across the fingers on the table stunt, and also thrown Selina into the closet for like a solitary confinement like torture, but he doesn't know that it's during these moments where Selina is at her most strong. While in these dark spaces of solitude, she finds herself drifting off into her fantasy world where she is much taller, much bigger, much stronger, and can conquer all of her demons. Also at school, she's not exactly the most popular kid, though she does have her friends there, and it has to deal with the pressures, I guess, of the social conformity, but Selina does not conform. In fact, Selina is actually one of the stronger people there. She doesn't like a lot of people in her school, but there are people she does enjoy, including one handsome Bruce Wayne. And she does find joy, thieving for little kids, and kind of like a little Robin Hood complex. And she even finds like a little kitten that she kind of adopts for herself and brings her joy and takes it home, and it really takes her out of the pain and dark clouds that is her life both at school and at home. But this joy comes to a crumbling end when Darnell finds the kitten and manages to kill the kitten. It is at this point where Selina decides never again, and she runs away from home. Next chapter, we follow the homeless Selina, who can no longer take on the name of Selina because trying to acclimate herself to the life that she once had no longer works. She's going to school, smelling like all sorts of garbage. She smells, she stinks, she's covered in roaches. Well, one roach, I might be exaggerating, but the point is she's nasty right now, and it's just not gonna work. So Selina decides that this is it for Selina. She is now Catgirl. This is who she is. There is no more Selina, it is Catgirl. No going back. She lives on the streets, she fends for herself, but while on the streets, she meets someone else, that is Oho. Oho is the man who introduces her to parkour, which now we know where Catwoman gets her acrobatic skills from. And Oho offers the opportunity for her to join a little family of his. Aang, who's kind of a brainiac, and Rosie, who is an orphan, and together they are a thieving family. The family includes Yang, who's the brainiac, the one who plans out all the great schemes, and the orphan Rosie, who's actually not involved with any of the thieving at all. She's just been adopted by this little group of, I guess, orphans or homeless, just young guys and girls who are taking care of each other on these rough Gotham streets. Now, in the background of everything that's been going on is the Gotham Growler, who seems to be a giant dog that's mauling citizens in Gotham. It's on the news. It's been on the news for a while. It's on the news while Catgirl is homeless, and Selina doesn't really buy into the threat of the Gotham Growler because the real monsters are people, and you know what? That's a fact. Catgirl accepts the invitation to be part of this family, and by doing so, accepts the opportunity to do this heist. And the heist that's being planned right now is to steal a book from a very particular manor. What manor could this be? The only manor I know in Gotham. It's gonna be Wayne Manor. We'll get to that, but of course, we're gonna see them do a little practice run. They've never done anything, a crime of this scale scale and size before, and during this practice run, they come across one of the Gotham Growler's victims. Ah, it's disgusting. He's mauled and gross and yucky. The blood everywhere. But enough about that. It's heist day, and it's here, it's going down. Selina's ready, she's doing her parkour, she's infiltrating the manor, only to discover that it's Wayne Manor. And that freaks her out. She can't go and rob Bruce. She knows this guy from mad long, that's her friend. But while this is all going on, she's having her moment of conscience, just like, oh, my Jiminy Cricket's acting up. She hears a shriek, and it's Rosie who's now being attacked by the Gotham Growler. And Selina jumps out there to make the save, but she's not alone. Bruce is also out there going to make the save. They put the Growler down. Selina's got to run. They can't find Rosie. Too much is going on. Rosie is now missing. Selina doesn't know where Rosie is, and there's been a close connection between them both because Rosie does not speak. She does not like being touched. Even though she's been part of this family, she's been very much to herself and has, during the time Selina has been part of this family, grown very attached to our cat girl. And though she is missing, she was hiding out in Wayne Manor. Bruce does find her, and it is Bruce that has managed to reach out through the cell phones that they have in case of emergency to let Selina know that he wants to meet. He doesn't know that it's Selina, and it is there when they go and meet. Selina is thinking that maybe she can return the book and also get Rosie, but Rosie is not with Bruce, as after going ahead and making contact with Selina, Rosie leaves Wayne Manor. Again, missing Rosie, and she's doing it without too much help. She's really just using what she knows about Rosie and the relationship that they have formed together. She thinks she knows where she is. She believes she's by a halfway house, and the reason why is because there's a poster boy on there that looks very familiar, and that's because the poster boy advertising the halfway house is actually Rosie's brother. Rosie is part of a family. That family included a mother who was depressed and her own brother. The depressed mother went for a drive and committed suicide when she drove into a lake or river, but the kids managed to escape and survived. It was while at an orphanage that Rosie's brother was adopted and Rosie was not, thus separating the family. And that's how we meet Rosie as the non-speaking, doesn't want to be touched family member. Now that Selina's found Rosie, Rosie wants Selina to go with her to join this halfway house so they could be one big family together. But Selina can't do that. Selina doesn't even trust the halfway house. She kind of believes that it's like a little cult for kids. And you know, why? Can you really blame her? I mean, when you think about human trafficking and the way that it preys on young women, young boys as well, and just, I'm sorry, just thinking about this topic, it's very deep and it's hurtful and it angers me thinking about it, but these are very realistic fears and these are the fears Selina has. Selina reaches out to Bruce to let Bruce know that she found Rosie, and while that happens, Bruce goes and lets her know, hey, you know you can stay with me, right? But Selina is just not gonna do that. And while she's going and explaining to Bruce that it's just not gonna happen, and by the way, does return the book that was stolen from him, Rosie has disappeared because Rosie knows that Selina's not gonna go with her either. Rosie just wants to be part of a family, just want to be with her brother, and being separated now, both from Bruce and Rosie, now brings Selina to tears because she feels that she can't have a family. And it's weird because she didn't want a family for a good amount of time, and now that she thought she had possibly maybe something forming, it didn't work out the way she wanted, and it hurts her so much to feel that whenever she has love, it's taken from her. Though she finds being part of a family hard, and maybe it's easier to isolate herself, Selina finds strength in knowing that she does have friends she can reach out to when she needs them, but also realizes that she is capable of doing a lot on her own, and decides to charge forward on her own as Catgirl. However, with the comfort of knowing that there's people that she can reach out to when she needs them. There are a lot of issues that we see in this book that are worthy of conversation, from homelessness, running away from home, abusive parents, some things that we didn't even really discuss while I was reviewing, like animal cruelty and cutting. However, there is no softening of any blows. We don't cater to the younger in this young adult section because, you know what? We're being honest in this book. As early as you can remember, the real issues were affecting your life, whether you were 13, 14, 15, maybe even younger than that. There's no hiding from life, and so there's no hiding in this book. We don't spend a lot of time going over one particular issue because the main theme of this book is reaching out for help. We see it in the beginning of the book, whether it's Selina's relationship with Bruce Wayne, whether it be Selina's relationship with Oho, Yang, and Rosie. We even see it towards the end of the book when Rosie finds her halfway house and offers for Selina to come along with her. Bruce offers once again, and these are all turned down. But it's not just in the narrative of the story. At the very end of the book, we also see a very welcome addition. Phone numbers and hotlines for anyone who is going through suicidal tendencies, self-harm, if you want to stop domestic violence, if you know about anyone or anything that in your own personal life that you feel that you can put an end to or need help putting an end to, there are hotlines that are available. We'll put some available for you at the end of this video. Another talking point, should this be canon? I mean, all right, Under the Moon takes place in its own little realm of the DC universe. It's actually not tied to anything we've seen in the past, and maybe that's a good thing. We see references to Bruce Wayne possibly having a Superman complex, to Selina going and demonstrating her skills as a parkour athlete, being almost as good as Wonder Woman. So we know that these heroes exist in this world, but Bruce Wayne has never been Batman, and Selina's never been Catwoman. So this just kind of exists from outside of what we know. But I wouldn't mind seeing this as part of Selina's actual life. We've seen other authors take their shot at Catwoman's origin story. We've seen Frank Miller, Ed Brubaker, Jeff Loeb, numerous writers going and carving their little piece into the mythos that makes Catwoman. But I gotta admit, I really enjoyed seeing this, and I do want to see more. Which then leads to another thing. If we don't see this brought up in comics, can we see more graphic novels that are tied to this universe? Because I'm genuinely interested in seeing where this Selina Kyle goes next. And not just Selina, Bruce Wayne. It was so refreshing to see a version of Bruce Wayne that's not goth or emo or brooding. It reminded me almost of Batman the Animated Series, where yes, Batman might be a scary, very scary figure. Bruce Wayne himself has a great heart, is charming, and is someone you can actually relate to. Bruce was great, and so was Selina. Seeing their relationship, it was nice being able to see this side of the story without delving too much into overly campy maybe feel. Catwoman has been around since 1940 in the very first Batman comic. Batman #1, the cat appears. That's where she's at. And yet it really feels like this is the most fleshed out version of a young Selina that we have ever seen. No disrespect to other authors, but I really enjoyed reading this. I really enjoyed seeing this and would like to see this as part of the canon. And I need to stop for a second because now I really need to talk about the art. Lauren Miracle goes and describes Bruce's hair as being like a murder of crows, and then Isaac Goodhart goes and makes that come to life by having his hair kind of like delve into becoming the murder of crows that's being described, and it's beautiful, it's magical, it's fantastical, and it's that kind of artwork that brings the young adult and the superhero genres together. It's something we don't see often, and I thought it was wonderful and welcome and something I'd love to see more often. And it's not the only time we see that. We see that as Selina's talking to like I don't want to say a cat god, but you know, just kind of her spirit animal, so to speak. We see a lot of instances of Selina diving into fantasy, and Isaac makes that fantasy come to life. We also get some very strong, emotional, like splash pages almost. One image that sticks out in my mind in particular, where Selina is crying in like this kind of cylindrical tube, and we're getting one, where we're looking through the tube and we see Selina crying on the other end, and it was just, oh my God, that image, it was just very strong and it stuck with me. And the pairing of Lauren Miracle and Isaac Goodhart just worked so well together. I love this book. I really enjoyed Under the Moon. In fact, I'm over the moon for Under the Moon. But I'm really sad to see the DC Inc. label coming to an end. That said, the legacy will live on as we have more young adult graphic novels being introduced to the DC lineup. However, what did you think of Under the Moon? What do you think about the direction of the graphic novels? What do you think about Under the Moon being part of Catwoman's main canon in the DC universe? Let me know in the comments below. Let's keep this conversation going. Subscribe to the channel, share the video, and if you want to keep this conversation going on Twitter, you can reach us at Comic Convo. I'm Brandon, signing out. Until next time.